Yaura,
Yaura,
Namaste.
Namaste, Ram Ram.
Welcome to our workshop. Here we are talking about good faith, fair or unfair in New Zealand HRM practice. Myself Abhinav and my colleague Kesav. Firstly, I am talking about our agenda of this workshop. In these slides, we are talking about good faith and then Employment Relation Act 2000. Then we are discuss about our learning objective of this workshop. Then after we are talking about some recent law cases. Then what the penalties and consequences of the law cases. Then we are talking about what is the strength of good faith and limitation. Then we are talking about some research of the good faith. Then in the last, we are talking about strategic implication for HR practice. Then our activity of true false. Then in the last of the workshop, we are wrap up and recap of our workshop.
Yeah, this is the slide of introductions. Good faith underpins the employment relation in New Zealand, where the good faith deals with the human resource management, HRM environment, where Employment Relations Act 2000 is linked with the duty of good faith that puts employers and unions under compulsion. As per ERA 2000, employees act in a manner that nurtures open, honest, and constructive relationships at work, unlike the situations in many jurisdictions, unlike the largely managed through implied duties of the common law. This presentation provides information about good faith as it can be applied in the Aotearoa New Zealand in HRM practices.
So, in this slide, we are talking about what is good faith. So, the audience of our workshop are already know about what is good faith. So, we cannot going deeper, but simple words we can say being transparent about any decision and information that might impact it on employee future with the employers. According to the study of Zhang and Wu, it has been highlighted that human resource managers are responsible for applying the common specific law and the organization. For example, inflated career promotion or inaccurate security could amount to breach of good faith in case that the employer suffer a loss relying on those statements. This implies that communication of recruitment should be both transparent and consistent and well documented to the HR professional.
This is the slide about good faith era, where the integration of Employment Relations Act 2000 helps in providing safety net conditions for employees in accordance with legislation 2025, where this slide tells about working condition, remuneration, and expectation should be well stipulated in employment contracts and for to avoid conflict, onboarding in equal measures must entail the articulations of policies, performance expectations, and the culture of the workplace. In this way, HR fulfills the legal requirements and will trust from the very step of the relationship.
Here in this slide, we are talking about the learning objective of our workshop. So the learning first objective of our workshop is participant will be able to assess how good faith influence HRM functions such as recruitment, bargaining, performance, management, and termination after this workshop. And the second learning objective of our workshop is participant will be receive suggestion to install the good concept of good faith in the workplace culture. So the main task of the workshop is prepare to the HR deep knowledge of good faith in New Zealand to learn the principle that would influence compliance and strategic HR practice. It is expected that HR will be not able to only knowledge about lawful requirement but also incorporate the duty of good faith into the people management practice of their organization.
In this slide, the recent case law where the employer failed to consult meaningfully during restructuring, breach of good faith relates to unfair process where in accordance with Employment Code of New Zealand 2023, where the employee awarded $25,000 compensation for lost wages, and where this case is a strong reminder that cancellations must be genuine, not a tick box exercise, where the code emphasized the employers must engage employers early and seriously consider for their feedback. Employment Code of New Zealand 2023. The code emphasized that the feedback seriously consider where the employees can must engage, that is in accordance with the Employment Code of New Zealand where 2023. HR professionals should ensure restructuring processes which are transparent with fulfilled disclosure of reasons and real opportunities for input.
So in this slide, here another recent case is law of GF versus New Zealand Customs Service. In this case, employer failed to disclose key information in dismissal and break the duty of good faith. Then the employer fight their case in court and court ordered to the company to give back their position and also $15,000 for compensation. So this case show that how important transparency in dismissal processes. So the employer withheld crucial information that the employee needed to fairly respond. So the court take a step for reposition and financial compensation for HR practice. So the lesson is clear. Always disclose all relevant information even if it feels uncomfortable for the employers.
Yeah, in a recent case law where the employer failed to provide fair chance to respond to allegations, breach of procedural fairness and good faith, 20,000 compensation plus reimbursement of lost income were Employment Relations Authority 2024. The Employment Relations Authority stated that employees must have a fair and responsible opportunity to respond to allegations, where, in accordance with Employment Relations Authority 2024, incomplete processes undermine good faith. And another thing is that HR professionals, this means taking the time to support employee through hearing, offering respiration options, and documentations the process carefully.
So in this slide, we are talking about some penalties and consequences of recent law cases. So in this, the first case about Piney and versus Invacare New Zealand Limited. So the employer's lack of meaningful consultation during the restructuring was held to be unfair. So the court awarded $25,000 in compensation for humiliation, loss of dignity, and injury to feeling, and also in addition lost wages. So in the another case, GF versus New Zealand Customs Service, the employer failed to disclose essential information during dismissal processes. So the court ordered for the employee to along with $15,000 compensation for distress. In the another case of Brown versus Tifatu Ora Health New Zealand, the employer did not give the employee a fair chance to respond to allegation. The era ordered $20,000 compensation plus lost income recovery. So this so that employers shall ensure that they disclose all information that is pretend to be employee decisions. The non-disclosure of essential information has been proved to be a recurrent violation of good faith. The employer must consider the input of employee in real way rather than formality. Employers should have a positive relation with the union. They cannot behave in a manner that weakens the collective bargaining. The impact of following to comply with the study such obligations by the employer are not limited to litigation and reputational losses.
In this critical evaluation slide, where there are the strengths and the limitations, where it has been found that organizations that engage in genuine way have found the employee trust in organization improves as well as turnover of productivity. Strategically speaking, good faith contributes to the long-term stability of relations, which is consistent with current concerns of employee well-being and organizational culture. In accordance with uh, Barclough, Fraser, and Barron's 2021, the strength is the statutory clarity that is unique to New Zealand in compared to the UK, where the relationship of trust and confidence is implied. In Australia, where the focus is statutory protections against unfair dismissals, New Zealand employers and HR professionals must obey certain clarity defined obligations. Although these are strengths, uh, these are challenges. There are challenges too. The wide language of the ERA 2000 is also ambiguous, especially on what constitutes relevant information when during consolidations. In accordance with Elevation and Blom 2022, this has caused widespread litigations, and the HR professionals have been in confusion of limits of their duties. Moreover, good faith applications may be resource consuming in that it involves extensive consolidations even at times. When the business is under urgent requirement to change, smaller employers find it difficult to meet these expectations, and there is the burden is bureaucratic.
So here's some research in the case studies. So good faith compensates in accordance with statutes, which encourage psychological safety because it aids in ensuring that workers speak up without fear. So in next, the open consultation increase the rate of trust and innovation within the organization. So, however, other studies claim that a certain gap between the law and its enforcement persists. Most employers transform good faith into a checklist exercise, therefore failing to inoculate it within the organizational culture. The poses a risk to the concept of fairness among the employee even if the necessary legal standards have been achieved.
This slide is about insight from research, where the Section 4 of the New Zealand Relations Act 2000 reflect the duty of good faith mandates. Apart from this, maintaining better employment relationships among employers along with unions can be fruitful to deal with prevailing challenges. Apart from this, the legal foundation of the New Zealand employment law is to focus on creating fair as well as safe workplace, along with ensuring employees and employers have a clear understanding regarding to the rights and responsibilities. It is in accordance with Courts of New Zealand 2019. Legal foundation helps employers as well as the HR manager to maintain specific responsibilities that can be supported by the Employment Relations Authority as well as the Employment Code. In this regard, case examples in New Zealand are important to discuss for clarifying the Employment Relations Act 2000. It emphasized the requirement of honesty while dealing with communications, where another side, the moreover, it also deals with the proactive disclosure of information, which is necessary to maintain the employment relationship. Hence, this case, like example, is appropriate for managing honest, faith, and trust in communications, where at the time of the maintaining a healthy relationship between employees and employers.
So in this slide, we are talking about the strategic implications for HR practice. So good faith is more than just a legal requirement. So strategic implication for HR needs to be some points like trust and engagement. So embedding genuine consultation and transparency strengthens employee trust, reducing turnover and boosting engagement. So in the next point, it's a reputation and employer brand. So organizations that consistently act in good faith are viewed as fair and ethical employers, which improves recruitment and retentions. So in the next point, we are talking about risk management. Proactively applying good faith minimizes the likelihood of costly dispute, litigation, and reputational damage. So in the next point, we are talking about workplace culture. Moving beyond compliance encourages a culture of open communication, respect, and collaboration, which contribute to long-term organizational sustainability. In the last, we are talking about leadership practice. So training managers to adopt good behaviors ensure fairness in a decision making, so consistency across the organization. So the strategic HR practice require integrating good faith into culture and leadership, not just avoiding legal penalties, but leveraging its competitive advantage.
In these activities, we have 8 questions for our audience to learn easily some important materials from our workshop. The first question is,
So, is the good faith compulsory in New Zealand?
yeah, true. The answer is true.
So, the second question for the activity is good faith only applies during collective bargaining, not in day to day employment. It's true or false?
It's false.
So the third question of activity is employers and employee must be active, constructive and communicative under good faith. Is true or false?
It's true.
So the next question is does good faith automatically includes health and safety at work act?
It is false.
So our next question is breaching good faith can result in legal consequences at employment relation authority. It's
Yeah,
true or false.
it's true.
So our next question is the duty of good faith is higher when dealing with unions and collective bargaining. It's true
It's
or false.
it's true.
So our next question is good faith requires employer to always agree with employees.
It's false.
So our next and last question for the activity is an employer must consult with employees before making decision that could affect their job as a part of good faith.
It's true. In this wrap up and recap, where we conclude that the principle of good faith is not just a statutory duty under the ERA 2000s, it is the foundation of effective employment relations in New Zealand. The recent cases we reviewed show how courts interpret fairness and the consequences when employers fail to act transparently and consult meaningfully. For HR practice, this goes for beyond legal compliance. By embedding good faith in policies, leadership training, organizational culture, HR leaders can build trust, reduce conflict, and create more resilient workplaces. The real takeaway here is that good faith should be seen as a strategic advantage, not just a legal box to tick. Going beyond compliance by encouraging open communications, employee voice programs, and leadership training in rational management. Moreover, formulation of internal policies that is clear on what is meant by the term relevant information, less ambiguity in the restructuring and discipline processes. On the other hand, integration of treaty principle and Pikanga Maori into people management practices where good faith engagement is in accordance with bicultural commitments of New Zealand, in accordance with WALS and ECORA 2025. In this regard, using the models of Scandinavia to look at how to collaborate and US models to look at equality and tailor the lessons to be not at fair at flexible. Beside this, good faith applications should be regularly applied by equipment of the managers with skills and knowledge to minimize the risk of procedural mistakes and lawsuits. Where these suggestions frame good faith as a competitive ease and not a regularity liability is a contributor to trust, equity, and long-term organizational sustainability. The concept of fairness, transparency, and positive interactions is part of the prescriptions of good faith in the practice of New Zealand SRM. New Zealand is now an anomaly in the world. Its legislative confidence in the era 2000s ensure that the employees are better safeguarded and the onus lies on the employer to engage in a non-formal relations with their staff and unions. Lastly, good faith is not merely an obligation in a legal context, but an opportunity to streamline and make the HRM practice more just in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Thank you. We hope that you understand some materials from our workshop. Thank you.